Well, good afternoon, everyone. Haven't shot a video in a few weeks, an actual knife video. I did the video about the one that you guys watched today as I'm shooting, which was the Replicade Arcade. What we're gonna talk about today is, though, the Artisan Arroyo. So let's go ahead. This is a nice little knife. Let's go ahead and we'll start getting into that. But first, if you're watching on headphones, turn down the volume because here comes some music. So guys, like I said, the Artisan Arroyo, this is a Dirk Pinkerton design. I do like this knife. I'm usually not a fan of these big upswept blades. This is kind of a Persian style, kind of a drop point or a clip point. I mean, it's kind of buoyed out. It is attractive and it is comfortable. So we're not going to do a lot of talking about this up front, and I'm going to give you guys fair warning. I'm expecting a phone call, so there's probably going to be an interruption, and I don't have batteries for my scale, so we're just going to have to go off of what I was able to get offline. And my internet is down right now, so I was unable to get more than one set of prices. So we're just going to go off the price that I got from knifecenter.com when we get to the end. So just to give you guys a heads up, I do like this knife. It's not a knife I would keep or carry, but I definitely do like it. This knife is already going somewhere, so this will not be a giveaway. So yeah, guys, let's go ahead. Let's turn the camera around. Let's take a look at this from above. Take a good clean look at it. It's a nice little knife. So I do have a couple things that always I'm going to point out to you that are just things that I find problematic. They're not big showstoppers, but they are things that I just kind of wish were a little different. So, but I did talk to the guys at Artisan, and there are some plans that some of that may change. So, all right, guys, let's go ahead and set everything up, and I'll meet you down at the counter. All right, guys, let's take a quick look at this. I have to admit this tripod is a little large. I have to stand beside it instead of behind it like the old one. But let's take a good look at this. This is the Dirk Pinkerton designed Arroyo done by Artisan Cutlery. And they did a really good job on this. This blade is super thin, super slicey. It's done in their AR-RPM 9. We'll talk about that in a minute. Obviously, liner lock. It says that it's gray G10, but it's an awful blue colored G10. So I say that it's blue. On the website, it says that it's gray. They have several different colors, and they have a micarta version. So it is reversible pocket clip, liner lock, with running on ceramic bearings in AR-RPM 9 steel. So let's get some specs out of the way before we talk about it too much. The blade length on this is 3.31 inches, and it has a closed length of 4.12. The overall length of this is 7.48. And so your blade thickness is 0.11 inches, and it's done in AR-RPM 9 at 58 to 60 Rockwell. So this is, like I said, a Persian style blade. We'll talk about the steel in a second. We may do that on the backs when we flip this back around. Yeah, like I said, it is a kind of a Persian style or swept point blade. It does have a very unique feel in hand. The handle complements that blade shape really well. It is comfortable in hand to use. These are coming in right at 3.53 ounces, which is 100 grams. This is not a heavy knife. It's easy to carry. It carries really, really well. Like I said, they do have this in both G10 and micarta. There is a price difference. The micarta ones are a little bit more expensive, but we'll talk about that after. So now that we've got all the specs out of it, let's take a good look at it. So this knife is done with this groove down here, which is an Arroyo. I was told, I don't speak Spanish, so I didn't know when I said that I like this little cutout that's in here, because it gives it a unique feel in hand. So you have this milling, this nice patterned milling, all the way up the sides, and then it's milled out here in the center, and then again on the other side. The pocket clip is reversible, and it's a fairly deep carry pocket clip, but it doesn't stick up real high. Now, I'm not a big fan of the pocket clip, but I'll tell you what I am a big fan of. The aesthetics of this knife. The thought that like that jimping, just looks cool. It does have the lanyard post in there. And like I said, pocket clip is reversible. Now, that's going to be one of the first things that I say that really kind of bothers me. I'm not a fan of the pocket clip. I really don't like the pocket clip at all. I do know that there is a titanium replacement for this. And then the other thing, because it kind of goes along with the pocket clip, is this recessed area that the pocket clip sits in, which is really nice. However, it's kind of sharp. It's actually really sharp. And the only issue I have with that is if it's in your pocket and you reach in to get anything else, I've banged my knuckles. I've scraped my knuckles up on it. As a matter of fact, right here, that's from this knife. I was reaching into my pocket and I got up against it and scratched that little area right there. Not such a big deal, but the thing is, they are talking about putting an insert. They're thinking about putting an insert there to alleviate that issue. Same kind of construction as all the other Artisan knives that you've seen. The ceramic bearings this knife is smooth. It is smooth. Action on it's really nice. I do like the Artisan knives, and I do know that they're budget knives, and I'm fine with that. So this knife cuts really, really well. So this is not a blade shape that I think would be something that I would go after, but I can see how it is comfortable. And if you are an outdoorsman and you cut meat or process meat and things like that, these blades do really, really well. These Persian swept blades do really, really well cutting meat and processing meat. This thing cuts super well. Now, I'm kind of torn on it because while it does have so much belly, I like to have a knife that has a little bit more flat before it transitions into its swept up belly area. So for me, this knife just is not quite got enough belly. It reminds me a lot of, if you guys remember, I did the Morph, the Custom Knife Factory Morph video, and I didn't like that blade. It's too swept. For me, I prefer something that is a little bit more multi-purpose. This is a really, really nice knife for carry. The only other issue I have is this, the way that this transitions and the really small sharpening choil. If you were going to sharpen this, you're going to wind up getting into your plunge by sharpening. And it's just one of those things that it's going to happen with knives that have the smaller transitions, and how this ends right at that plunge, you're going to have some swept issue. Is it a functional issue? Absolutely not. It is 100% an aesthetic issue that when you sharpen it, you can see already there's that area where the sharpening has gotten up into the ricasso. I just personally find that unattractive. If you replace the pocket clip and filled that spot in right there, this would be a knife that I would have a lot easier time carrying. I do like the color of the G10. It is attractive. And like I said, that small little Arroyo, if you would, that's in the handle, gives it a distinct feel in hand. And I really like it. I like it a lot, and it gives it some tactile feeling that you got. But like I said, when I get this knife in hand, I've got big enough hands that I'm getting into that area where that's kind of sharp, and I can just feel it. But like I said, my big one is like when it's in your pocket and you reach past it to get something else in your pocket, and then you dink up against it, and it's sharp on those corners. So, I mean, I really don't have a lot else to say about this knife. It cuts really well. Let's turn this around and we'll talk about steel, because I know that there's been some videos out there about the steel. I have something to say about it. So, let's go ahead and turn this around. We'll do some final thoughts on it. We'll talk about steel and we'll talk about price. So now, like I said, this is a budget knife, and you have to look at it as such. This knife is currently selling for like $45 on knifecenter.com. And like I said, my internet kind of went down on me while I was prepping for this video, and I was only able to get one set of comparison. But MSRP on this is $61. So even at $61, that's not a bad price. You can get it at knifecenter.com for $45.98. The micarta version is $65 on knifecenter.com, and I did not get the MSRP for that one. But yeah, the micarta version, which is the same green micarta that you saw on my Rhea that I have, it's that same micarta, and it's attractive. So yeah, it's a budget knife, and you've got to look at it as such. There has been a couple videos out there of people, not to call him out, but somebody was talking about the steel and that they were not impressed with it. Well, some people review these knives and they look at it like, oh, it's ARRPM 9. It's supposed to be this new powdered metallurgy. It's a powdered metallurgy budget steel, and you kind of get what you expect with that. I have no illusions that when I said I like the steel that's in my Sea Snake and I like the steel ARRPM 9, I had no illusions that it was a super steel. I'm not going to ever try to compare it to something like 20 CV or M390 or some of the other major super steels that are out there. And I think that's where the confusion is. And I really don't think it's fair to do a comparison like that. Now, Outpost 76 and some of those guys, they're entitled to their opinion, and I'm not going to at all disagree with them. I'm not going to cause a big conflict. I just personally look at it from a different standpoint. It's a budget steel done to perform a little. It's supposed to be a bridging point between some of the more expensive steels and some of the other options that were out there that aren't as great. D2, while it is a good steel, corrodes, and a lot of people don't like it. It really has a tendency to oxidize really readily, and this is a kind of a bridge the gap kind of thing. And I will tell you, this performs a lot like some of the steels that I really like, VG10 and things like that. It's really similar to, it's somewhere between a 9CR18 MOV and like an Acuto. It's a powdered steel that has a lot of the qualities of like a 9CR18 MOV. And it comes out, it winds up being a lot like VG10. The thing is, this is really corrosion resistant compared to VG10. You can make it rust. I definitely have patinaed and rusted some VG10 knives in my day. So I just want everyone to keep that in mind when they think of those steels. This is a budget knife. This is a $50 knife. And it's a very good $50 knife. It's worth more than $50. You're getting some serious quality. And I know people argue with me, oh, mine was this, mine was that. Well, I'm usually the guy who gets lemons, and I have not had a lemon yet. I have gotten knives that were not purchased for me by Artisan. I have knives that I've gotten from them that were not handpicked, and I have not had any major issues. But like I said, I'm not trying to compare this knife in any way, shape, or form to a $400 knife. Is it a good quality knife? Yeah. Would I carry it? Yes. I carry a lot of these budget knives now. My Rhea is one of those things that stays in my pocket a lot. So I just wanted to get that out of the way. I don't want any of that to detract from how good these knives are at the price. So I forgot to do a size comparison, so we'll do it right now since I have it here. So, you know, in size comparison, it's not too far off from a Sebenza. And then I have another knife here for comparison. This is my 940. And you can see they're real similar in size, but this is a nice, broad, super thin blade. And I'm telling you right now, the nice thing about these thin blades done in this ARRPM 9 is I have not sharpened this knife. It came in when I got it. It had a little hiccup in the blade where it looked like it had gotten up against something. I put it on a ceramic hone. It honed out, and I have done nothing but strop this knife since it came in the day before I did the initial impressions video on this knife. So I said, just to throw it out there, I'm not trying to discredit what other people's opinions of steels are. I just kind of think it's unfair to try to compare this steel that was not meant to be a super steel to some of the other higher end, higher grade steels. It's never going to perform like that. And to think it would is kind of silly. But yeah, guys, the Artisan Arroyo is a really good pocket knife. There's some really good reviews of it out there. So that's about all I got to say on it. I just would like to get this out there. I just want to tell you guys, thank you for being patient. I did take that time off throughout the holiday. I had stockpiled some videos. I did have that week where I didn't post anything up except for a live feed or two. I'm getting back into it, but it's hard because there's a lot of things going on right now. I'm transitioning my business to a different style. I'm now the pro tem president of the HOA. I am very busy right now. And plus I'm still shooting videos for here and full30.com. Guys, if you follow me here, you should probably follow me over on full30.com because I am in the process of shooting some exclusive content over there for that platform. So Guys, that's all I gotta say, really. If you like the videos, give them a thumbs up. If you don't like them, give them a thumbs down, but try to tell me why. And if you really like the videos, you can join as a monthly member down below. And there's also an applause tab where you can just give, you can give like a couple dollars to the channel if you would like, just to let me know that you really like the video. So guys, that's all I've got on this one. I love you all. Take it easy, and I will see you in the next video.